So let's talk air quality. I know you've all been hearing a lot about wildfire smoke and smoke plumes and whatnot. And there is a good website called fire.airnow.gov where you can go see all that. However, I think the numbers that it shows on the map can be very confusing because there's a lot more that goes into it beyond, oh, there's a green dot. I'm fine where I am. So this is actually taken yesterday, but you can see that basically the entirety of North America is covered in smoke plumes right now and a little part of Europe. Sorry, Europe. Now, when you pull up the map, it's going to show your local area zoomed in and your little blue dot, but you can zoom out to see what the greater picture, the bigger picture is if you want to see that. So the blue dot in this picture is me, and up until the last few days, we were getting really lucky with air currents and whatnot, and had not had any smoke plumes over us this whole entire time, which I have to tell you, I was really appreciating. So this is what it'll look like when you pull up your own check when you're checking your area, and you can see that, there's little green dots around my blue dot, but that doesn't tell the whole story. And there's also a haze of a couple layers of smoke plumes in the upper atmosphere above my valley right now. If you tap down in the lower left in that air quality index, it will show you what the colors mean. And just because a thing is showing as green may not mean that it's actually green. So here's where some of the problem comes in about accuracy of reporting in individual zones. Air sensors may be inaccurate and therefore may require field calibration to give more accurate data. Not all air sensors are weatherproof. Some air sensors need a physical enclosure in order to protect them from weather conditions. So, in an area like mine, where we have a pretty harsh environment, we can have very high temperatures, very low temperatures, it's super dry, and we have a high mineral content in the water, even in the rain when we get it. So, all of that can affect the performance of these sensors. And the other thing to keep in mind is that most of these sensors are just down on the ground. So unless you have a real influx of wildfire smoke directly in your area, like some of the places you saw on the map with the yellow and orange dots, you're not going to have anything showing on those sensors. So along with the sensor issue, it gets a little more complicated on top of that. We have multiple agencies, companies, etc., responsible for reporting data, reporting accurate data, not lying about it. So if you go to the EPA website about air quality, there is a literal wanted poster scrolling of all of the fugitives who are missing, and that's because that they have lied. They have lied about various components of their job, whatever they were doing, and it all impacts air quality. So if we have a whole national system and it's all run by a bazillion different people and we're just counting on them being honest, that's not exactly fully reliable in my opinion. And you all know I'm never one to visit conspiracy town, but let's be real. The government kind of notoriously hides the severity of pretty much everything from us. So that's another thing to keep in mind. But when wood burns, so this is why wildfires are so much worse. When wood burns, there are a lot of different trees that when they burn, they turn into wood alcohol and or other toxins, and then that is atomized into the atmosphere. So that's what makes all of the smoke plumes. The smoke plumes are monitored by satellite by NOAA, which is the uh, National Oceanographic and Atmospheric Administration. My brain just shut down for a second. So the smoke plumes are the fine particulates, that atomized stuff that's all up in the atmosphere. And so if you have multiple layers of that over you, what happens at night when we're all hot as heck and we have our windows open is that those particulates come down lower because the air cools and you're going to get more of it. And so that's probably why, if you're going to feel this at all, you're going to feel it when you wake up in the morning. Some things that you can do are having an air filter machine in the room you sleep in, closing your windows at night, which I know is hard to do when it's really hot. I have not been able to do it myself, so I've been a little froggy in the morning. Mullein leaf You can have it as tea or as a supplement in capsules, but mullein, that is an herb that in particular helps your lung health. And then you can also put cardamom and coriander in your coffee, in your food, in your beverages, whatever. It doesn't really have a very strong flavor, but those substances help to prevent a toxic buildup of stuff in your blood, basically. So all of those things have helped me adapt to these new wildfire conditions. 3 years ago, we had the 100,000 acre ginormous fire about 10 miles away from me, and that was a miserable 3 months. So I learned a lot about how to adapt to these harsher conditions. So I hope that helps you understand the air quality a little bit better and why it matters, why you should care if there's smoke plumes over you. Because here's the thing, if you live in an area like mine, for instance, where the sky is always blue, the air is always clear, and there's never any pollution, if I get up in the morning and I look outside and I see that there's like just a slight haze, a slight discoloration, I know that there's stuff in the air. But if you live in a place with pollution, you're really not going to notice a difference as much unless you have that apocalyptic orange cloud of smoke in your area. So that's why I say you have to listen to your body a little more. You have to keep in mind the bigger picture of all the things that are going and realize that just because you can't see it doesn't mean it's not there.